Hi. Okay, so it is 5:45 in the morning. I've been up all night. As you saw in the intro, I was making some cookies. Um, these are pinwheel date nut cookies. Anyway, as tends to happen, if you have followed me for any length of time, you know I'm in my kitchen a lot, and this is when the Lord tends to speak to me often. And tonight was no different. I was thinking on some conversations that I've had in the past, and I was hearing some conversations play out and in my memory. And some of those conversations, one particular conversation that stood out to me that happens often is I'll be talking to someone and they will cuss in front of me, and immediately they go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I know you don't like that. I'm trying not to do that, And, and I know, and I appreciate the fact that they acknowledge the fact that I don't speak like that, and that it's not really language I appreciate. And the fact that I even made an effort and acknowledged it, I appreciate that. But anyway, but tonight, as that conversation was playing out, and how many times I've heard people stop and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," made me go, man, we kind of shortchange ourselves a little bit because, okay, well, let me backtrack. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. When children cuss or they say things offensive, we as adults are quick to correct them and say, "No, don't talk like that. That's not appropriate." And oftentimes these children are learning this firsthand, right from the donkey's mouth, so to speak. It's from mom and dad. They're learning this language and learning this way of speaking at home. It's not necessarily from the TV. It's not necessarily at school. It's not from their friends' family. It's mom and dad speaking this way. Admittedly, mom and dad who corrects them more often than not. And so we're holding our children into a higher standard of conduct than we hold ourselves. And this is why I say I think we shortchange ourselves. Because in Matthew 18:3, I'm going to be flipping through some scriptures quickly here. It says, Matthew 18:3, it tells us, "Surely I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven." Excuse me. And so as we come to Christ as a child, with a child's confidence and faith, we receive the blessing in the kingdom of heaven. And so we shortchange ourselves when we don't come in that way. But I'm going to read further on and move over to, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. And it tells us here that, "Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearer." And in 5:4, Ephesians 5 verse 4 says, "Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting, but rather giving of thanks." And moving over to 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 15, it says, "But as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, because it is written, 'Be holy, for I am holy.'" And that is written in Leviticus chapter 11 verses 41 through 45. And it says it both in 41 and 45, "Be holy, for I am holy." And, honestly, I cannot see God being someone who speaks in the language in which he just told us not to speak. And we are supposed to be like him. For the children of God, those of us who are called to be with him and called to him, we are called to be holy as he is holy. And we're called to come to him and become as a child when we come to him. In Proverbs 18, verse 21, it tells us, here, let me just flip over there real quick. In Proverbs 18:21, it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." So, cussing and abrasive language and filthy language and stuff like that, we don't want our children to speak these things because we know that they're offensive and they're hurtful, and we don't want our children being offensive and hurtful to ourselves or to other people, and we don't want them to receive that kind of hurt and nastiness from other people. So we're trying to train them up in not doing these things, and yet we're doing them ourselves, right? And so we have to be careful with that, because we are supposed to be as innocent and as confident in our faith in the Lord, the same as a child. And we're shortchanging ourselves when we don't. We're not receiving the kingdom of heaven, and we're not receiving the blessings of the kingdom of heaven when we don't align ourselves with how he tells us to conduct ourselves. I'm going to finish this up in Philippians 4, verses 8 through 9. And it says, "Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on those things. The things which you learned and received and heard and saw in me, these do, and the God of peace will be with you." So, my fellow brothers and sisters, children of God, don't shortchange yourself, okay? God has given us a way of conducting ourselves, and you don't have to miss out on his blessings when you align yourself up with his kingdom and his blessings that he has waiting for you. And we align ourselves up with it simply by coming into agreement and obeying the instructions he's given us. That's it. Anyway, I love you guys. God bless you. Stay firm. Seek out the Lord and trust in his ways. God bless you.